Good evening, everyone. We're going to call our council meeting to order for Wednesday, July the 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start with the Penetanguishene land acknowledgement. Penetanguishene respectfully acknowledges that we are on the traditional treaty territory of the Nishnabek people and their ancestors. Now known as the Williams Treaties First Nations territory, this includes the Chippewa Tri-Council comprised of Beausoleil First Nation, Rama First Nation, and the Georgina Island First Nation, Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, and the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nations. Also once home of the Huron-Wendat and more recently the historic settlement of the Métis, Penetanguishene is now home to many Indigenous peoples. Penetanguishene is proud of its Indigenous name, and more importantly that for thousands of years it has been and will continue to be an important homeland and gathering place for Indigenous people. We recognize that we are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters and are responsible to ensure that our Mother the Earth is here for future generations. Council, I know most of us joined us at the Canada Day celebrations at the museum. Sherry, if you can pass on Nicole our appreciation. The museum provided the land acknowledgement in French and English, and we're going to ask Councillor DeRush to help us out with that tonight.
Penetanguishene reconnaît avec respect que nous sommes situés sur le territoire traditionnel et de traité du peuple Anishinaabeg et de ses ancêtres, maintenant connus sous le nom du territoire des Premières Nations, visé par le traité Williams. Il s'agit du conseil tripartite des Chippewas, composé de la Première Nation de Beausoleil, de la Première Nation de Rama, de la Première Nation de Georgina Island et de la Première Nation d'Alderville, de la Première Nation de Curve Lake et de la Première Nation de Hiawatha et de la Première Nation des Mississaugas du Scugog Island. De plus, Penetanguishene était jadis le lieu de résidence des Huron-Wendat et plus récemment d'un établissement Métis historique. La ville héberge aujourd'hui de nombreux peuples autochtones. Penetanguishene est fière de son nom autochtone et le plus important, du fait que pendant des milliers d'années, elle était et continuera d'être un important territoire et lieu de rassemblement des peuples autochtones. Nous reconnaissons que nous sommes les intendants et gardiens de cette terre et de ses eaux et que nous sommes responsables de veiller à ce que notre mère, la terre, soit présente pour les générations à venir.
Thank you very much, Councillor DeRush. Thank you, Madam Clerk, and Nicole for providing that for us. Council, if we can stand, I'm going to ask Councillor Vadabankar if you can help us in the council commitment, please.
Your Worship. Council commitment for the town of Penetanguishene. We are grateful for the many gifts which have been bestowed on Penetanguishene and its citizens, including the gifts of freedom, opportunity, and peace that we enjoy. May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. We ask that all in attendance and those who could not be here assist us in promoting good government. May our decisions as members of council be enlightened, and may we all be strengthened in our awareness of our duties and responsibilities. May we be granted the wisdom, knowledge, will, and understanding to preserve the good fortune of the town for the benefit of all, to make good laws and wise decisions. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Councillor Vadabankar. Councillor Roux, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Engagement du Conseil pour la ville de Penetanguishene. Nous sommes reconnaissants des nombreuses grâces accordées à Penetanguishene et à ses citoyens dont la liberté, les possibilités et la paix dont nous jouissons. Que nous soyons des intendants dignes de tout ce qui nous a été confié. Nous demandons que toutes les personnes présentes et celles qui n'ont pas pu se présenter nous aident à promouvoir une bonne gouvernance. Que nos décisions à titre de membres du Conseil soient éclairées et que nous soyons tous renforcés à prendre conscience de nos devoirs et responsabilités. Que l'on nous accorde la sagesse, les connaissances, la volonté et la compréhension qui nous permettront de préserver la bonne fortune de la ville au bénéfice de tous, ainsi que de faire de bonnes lois et de prendre de sages décisions. Merci de votre présence.
Thank you, Councillor Roux. All right, we're going to move on, Council. Next item is our public service announcement. Emily, if you don't mind playing that clip for us, we'd appreciate that.
Hello, and welcome to this evening's council meeting. Before we start, just a few messages. For those that require the washrooms are located just outside of council chambers, to the right, down the hall. Town Hall is protected by a single source fire alarm system. Should the fire alarm activate, please exit the building through the rear doors or the side doors. Make your way down to the parking lot closest to the church. In the event of a medical emergency, please dial 911. The address for Town Hall is number 10 Robert Street West in Penetanguishene. And I'd like to remind everyone that we have a public access defibrillator just outside of council chambers. I wish you a safe and good council meeting. Bonsoir et bienvenue à la ville de Penetanguishene et à la salle de conseil. Avant que nous commençons ce soir, une couple de messages. Si vous avez besoin de les chambres de bain sont situées juste à l'extérieur de la salle de conseil, au bout du corridor à votre droite. La salle de conseil est protégée d'un système d'alarme à feu de 1 stage. Si l'alarme à feu sonne, veuillez quitter la salle de conseil par les portes à l'arrière ou de côté et on se rejoint dans le stationnement près de l'église. En cas de problèmes médicaux, veuillez signaler le 911. L'adresse ici est le numéro 10 rue Robert-Ouest à Penetanguishene. Et je veux vous rappeler qu'il y a un défibrillateur public juste à l'extérieur de la caserne. Je vous souhaite une bonne soirée. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Council, we're going to move on. Our next item is the approval of the agenda. We have a motion that reads that the agenda of the regular council meeting for July the 9th, 2025 be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Councillor Roux. Comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. 6 is declaration of pecuniary interest. Any members have a declaration of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. Next item is open forum. Open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address council on any matters that's important to you. It's 2 minutes where you get to address council. We'll keep it at 2 minutes, and your questions are directed towards council. So it's not meant to be a two-way debate back with staff. And we ask that you register with Madam Clerk before that. Madam Clerk, is anyone registered for open forum this evening?
Thank you, Your Worship. There's 2 members of the public that are registered for open forum this evening. First up is Amanda Badan, who would like to speak in regards to Huronia Park. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll have you come to the podium if you don't mind. And again, you have 2 minutes, and thank you for being here.
Good evening, council members. I'm here tonight to discuss a critical issue that affects many families in our community, drowning incidents at our beaches. As a resident and a parent, I'm deeply concerned about the safety of our children and the measures we don't take to prevent such tragedies. Last summer, my family, along with many others who were there that day, witnessed a horrifying experience at one of our local beaches. We witnessed a young boy struggling in the water, and despite our efforts to help, he unfortunately did not survive. This experience has driven me to advocate for increased water safety measures in our community and quicker and better response times to incidences of this matter. I urge the council to consider the following recommendations. I know we have swimming lessons at Waypoint, but I was curious if we could do like some beach safety workshops, like right at the beach, and perhaps even little swimming lessons there, or just public awareness campaigns. I know a couple of people have brought up about barriers or buoys or rope lines or anything in the water there, or even trying to remove some of the seaweed there that's at like the top end of the beach. Or better signage to provide clear warnings of the immediate drop off as you walk off. Simple things like that. There's numerous things, but that's about it. As a concerned citizen and frequent visitor to our beach, I urge you to take proactive approach to addressing the safety concerns that have been raised. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I look forward to hearing about your thoughts.
Thank you for addressing us tonight. We won't have a response on those, but in due time we'll look at that. But I'm going to ask if our CEO may have some comments that we be able to provide from administration's perspective on this.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Ms. Badan, for bringing your comments and concerns forward. Certainly your comments have been noted and will be taken into consideration. I think it's one thing that I want to reiterate is that as a municipality, we view public safety as a top priority at our beaches. At this point, there'll be, we're not in a position to discuss the matter because it is being litigated in the court system. And until such time that a judge can litigate the matter, we can't speak publicly about the matter. We've been instructed by our lawyer who's ultimately responsible for this matter that we're not in a position to speak to it. But again, I'll just reiterate that your comments and concerns have been noted. Staff have noted them and will be taken into consideration. And we certainly thank you for bringing them forward. Thank you.
Or anything down there to like alert, like just little safety precautions like that, not talking on the matter itself.
Appreciate your comments. Staff have brought them forward and we'll address them. Thank you, Mr. Lees, for your follow-up. Thank you again. Madam Clerk, I believe we have another member.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next up is Mike McCrae, and he is going to discuss Crown land across from 246, 250, 256.
Thank you, Ms. McCrae. I'll have you to the microphone again. 2 minutes and the floor is yours. Thank you as well for attending.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether all of you know those properties. It's Crown land run by the Ministry of Natural Resources. It's Plan 83 Park Lot 4. It's on the water. It's right across from my house. Our family has been using it and taking care of it for the last 45 years. But we were told by the Ministry of Natural Resources that we couldn't do that anymore. But in talking with the gentleman from the Ministry of Natural Resources, he said, you don't have to worry, that land will never be sold. But if the town of Penetang wants that land, all they have to do is ask for it. Now, I don't know whether you would want that piece of land. I would hope you would, and then at least I can keep it clean probably. And then we'll have our view, because I figure probably it's going to take 3 years and our water view will be gone and your 5% will be gone. Because that's what we pay extra for water view, I gather. So that's really the gist of what I wanted to say. It's something I realize that everybody will have to get their fingers in this to figure out whether it's something you want, because from my standpoint, you can't build on it. There are at least 4 streams that run under there. And the lady who lived in the house next to me before she sold her place dumped, I don't know how many truckloads of fill in there. The first things that went in were big stumps and all the vegetation on. I presume she was cleaning out a house building lot. So you can't build anything on there to just sink down. But I'll leave that with you. That's all I wanted to say, and I hope something can be done. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for bringing that forward. Emily, is there anyone online that wishes to address council this evening? No, and Madam Clerk, no one else registered? All right, thank you very much both for attending our open forum. Council, we're going to move on. Next item is statement of members, an opportunity for council to let the community know what they're doing on your behalf. Councillor Leroux, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Your Worship. First, I attended the June 16th at the Yvon Gagné Courtyard for the recognition of town employees Nicole Jackson and Jeff Hamlin. Following that, on June 19th, I attended with Mayor Rawson at École Saint-Joseph in regard to town website carrying matters in French. June the 28th, I attended at the Brian Orser Hall for announcement from Minister Dunlop regarding town's success in receiving grant for HIVAC system for both the arena and the curling club. June the 29th, I attended celebration event held at St. Anne's Church, recognizing the 190th year anniversary of St. Anne's. And Tuesday, July 1st, I attended all-day event at the Penetanguishene Centennial Museum, celebrating Canada Day. I attended concert in the evening at the amphitheater, followed by fireworks at dusk. Thank you.
Busy month. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Vedabunker.
Thank you, Worship. A couple of events that I attended that Councillor Leroux was at as well, but I'll just highlight them quickly. So on June 16th, I attended the staff recognition event. On June 20th, I attended the South Georgian Bay Chamber of Commerce barbecue over at the Midland Town Dock, and it was quite successful. It was good to see a lot of familiar faces there. And later in the afternoon, I went to Waypoint to attend their presentation of their annual report to the community. So they presented this report. I believe it's online, and it just is a highlight of all the activities and everything that they've been doing the past year at Waypoint. So lots of interesting things there. They also introduced their 10-year strategic plan, 2026 to 2035, which highlights a number of initiatives that they plan to take on over the next 10 years, including an expansion to the mental health center building, and that's outlined in this document as well. And finally, at the event, they unveiled their new donor wall. So in the atrium building, up on the upper level, they have a new donor wall that they've highlighted the donors. They've categorized them by the amount that they've donated over periods of time. So I think that's all part of a new fundraising campaign that's going to be starting. Like Councillor Roux, on June 28th, I attended the announcement by MPP Jill Dunlop. That was quite nice to hear. It was, all the information was embargoed, so I showed up and I didn't really know what the announcement was going to be, and it was really nice to attend and to hear what it was for. Later that day, I attended my inaugural Tay Township Canada Day Parade. Deputy Mayor and the Mayor had attended in the past, and I was the newbie, and it was along with Councillor Waters was there as well. But it was a really nice parade, and thoroughly enjoyed the parade and the activities afterward. On July 1st, I participated in the Town of Midland Canada Day Parade as well, and then later in the afternoon, went over to the Penetanguishene Centennial Museum and enjoyed activities there. And it was a full house there, and our members of council were volunteering in different capacities, so it was good to see. And just a little bit of an announcement. On August 13th, our next council meeting, I'll be attending remotely. And I would like members of council and staff and the members of the public to know that I'm going to try to address the lighting situation from last year. You may recall where it was like the Blair Witch Project, where there was this light that was right in my face and then it was dimming. I hope to have that addressed this year so that I'll be there in a more professional manner. That concludes my my update, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Belboncourt. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. We look forward to that, Councillor Belboncourt. It was a little off-putting last time. It was different.
Off-putting.
Yeah, off-putting. Yeah. What did we hit the employee recognition, the Tay Township Parade was already mentioned, the Midland Parade was mentioned. It was an actual beautiful day down at the museum. We were able to get that, as well as most of council was there. We had a good night afterwards. The fireworks were spectacular. I haven't seen the town that packed in ages. The one thing different that we did do is the mayor and I attended the grand opening of the new 16-bed at Georgian Village. It was very nice to see that project complete, and the day before we got there, the last person moved in. So all 16 beds were opened and full in a matter of hours. So it was good to see another need filled in our community. And that'll do it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor DeRush.
Thank you very much. So in the past month, I attended the Wellbeing and Accessibility Committee meeting, and that was in June. And I also recently attended the Summer Cultural Festival Ad Hoc Committee meeting. We discussed moving forward with that. Council will hear from us very shortly on that, in that respect. I also attended the Parks and Trails Strategy Workshop, which was a virtual workshop that was offered by our consultants who are working on our Parks and Rec master plan. So it was great to hear from various partners at the table, and they're receiving their insights and their comments. And I too attended the Canada Day at the museum, and it was a fabulous day. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rush. Councillor Waters.
Did a lot of the same stuff everybody else did. June 16th, I started off with the Georgian Bay Physician Recruitment Advisory Committee. One of their main goals is obviously how to get doctors, but once we get them, how do we keep them here? And that's something that everybody in the whole community has to work towards, how to make people feel more at home when they're here. Second thing, right after that, we had our recognition for Jeff Hamlin and Nicole Jackson just outside here in the little garden. On the 18th, we had a special library meeting. They're working at fixing up the basement and turning that into a usable space. And again, special funding at for the Rec Center and Curling Club was on the 28th. Canada Day Parade in Victoria Harbor, followed by Burger and Pop. And on July 1st, we did the Canada Day Parade in Midland. And we did an excellent job of keeping in step. So I think we did a really good job on that. And followed by that, we went to the museum, served some cupcakes, enjoyed the fireworks in the evening. And this week we had Finance Community Service on Monday. Suzanne was there for that. And Tuesday was planning and development with my partner to the left here. And that went well. And each Friday I've been going to the Bayside Summer Soiree and listening to the music there. And that's been having a great crowd.
Thank you very much, Councillor Waters. See you, Elise.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple things from my perspective. Middle of the month, June 17th, June 18th, we held our annual emergency management training and exercise. This year, it was in conjunction and with strong support from the County of Simcoe, who led the charge and led us through that training. It's a new initiative that the county is offering to all municipalities, and we took them up on it, and it was just a tremendous opportunity, led by our fire and emergency services team, but really engaged and involved members of staff throughout the entire organization. Spent some time kind of relearning and revisiting roles, responsibilities, but we also spent a good amount of time on the second day going through an actual exercise. So very pleased with how that went. June 19th, our HR department coordinated our annual employee appreciation barbecue. So we did that. We had a fun little cornhole tournament amongst staff. We found out who spends their time after hours outside of work playing cornhole and who doesn't. But kidding aside, it was a great opportunity to reminisce and shut ourselves down from our day-to-day. And last but not least, on June 23rd, I had the pleasure of attending for portions of the day our RCS Parks Rec Trails strategy, visitations to all the facilities, parks, assets that we own with our consultant, and just a great opportunity to have some candid dialogue and bring the consultant up to speed with respect to our various infrastructure around the RCS world. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Elise. I won't repeat a lot of the ones that council colleagues mentioned, but I want to highlight a couple. Councillor Waters, you just mentioned one that I want to highlight. We won the parade float of the year at Canada Day in Midland this year based on our red shirts that Councillor Roux is wearing tonight. We look dynamic as a municipality. So thanks, Emily. We brought that trophy home and we'll put it with our other ones, but I think we look dynamic and good job. And in step, we're doing a great job. My other one I want to comment is, we probably don't say it enough, but to you, Elise, and the entire team, I've had so many positive kudos from everybody in the community about so many services that community members use. Walking through the park, I've noticed in the last little while we've put new planters in the waterfront, and I've had people stop me and say, wow, the park looks beautiful. Had that interaction again this morning with someone. This morning at Tim Hortons, someone came into the community. First time they've been to our community from Sturgeon Falls, wanted to come visit Discovery Harbor and wanted to make the way to the museum to see the museum and the history and artifacts. And I hear nothing but positive things about interactions that people have in the community. I could probably go on a long time, but I want you to know, and if we can share with everybody, just thank you for the work every day. I think we are the best, but the work that the team does is second to none. I won't repeat everything that my colleagues mentioned. I was at most of the events that we were at, but a couple others I'll highlight. I was at a Simcoe County Auto Mayors conference, which I'll speak about in a little bit. I also participated in the OPP billing consultation. So the Solicitor General is looking at reassessing the funding formula for costing. I participated and our treasurer participated as well. We've also provided our feedback after that, so I participated in that session. I did go to the Butter Tart Festival and had an opportunity to visit a couple of our merchants from the municipality, as well as our Lions Club that are doing some great work. I was at the Georgian Bay Métis Council annual rendezvous down at Discovery Harbor and represented the community at that event. Thanks to CO Lees and Emily, we hosted James Keating grade 3 class here to find out about what we do as a municipality. So the class was here and we got to share the great work that's being done. They had some great questions for us. And I don't know if our Director of Recreation was surprised, but I probably plugged the Rec Master Plan about 13 times. So if you got more from that age demographic, we did plug it many, many times during that session. I also attended the Cenotaph, the Garden Club did a tree dedication ceremony. So I was at that event. I just want to highlight one. So St. Joseph reached out to us. We'll talk about this later tonight, but I want to thank you, Councillor Roux, for attending that event. I think it was very good and positive, and I appreciate your participation on that. Participating in the Georgian Bay Native Friendship Center's annual powwow. I went to both grand entries on the Friday and Saturday, so that was another great event. Again, thanks to our colleagues, the TAE Candidate Parade, our candidates' festivities here were second to none. I represent the municipality at the St. Teresa's graduation, and Councillor Marchand was at Georgian Bay graduation. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make a look. There's too many that were misaligned, but we'll make sure we're there next year. Also went to Wheels for Wheels annual meeting and their 25th anniversary. So we attended that as well. And the other one that I'll just highlight that Councillor Vedabunker and Councillor Roux were at was St. Anne's Church 190th anniversary. And we'll leave it at that. But a busy month for all of us. And I think we can all rest high that we represent the community well and represent our interests. Thank you, Council, for your work. We're going to move on. 9 is our public meeting. We have none. 10 is delegations and presentations. We have none. 11 is adoption of minutes, not already confirmed. We have one for June 11th. Council, before we read the motion, does anybody want to pull in for further comment? Seeing none, the motion reads the following minutes of council meetings be confirmed and adopted as circulated for special council for June 11, 2025, for council for June 11, 2025. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Waters. Further comments? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed, and that is carried. Move on to number 12 is our consent agenda. Council, does anybody want to speak to this item or any questions? Okay, seeing none, the motion reads that the following consent agenda items having been given due consideration be received for information. Again, it's one regarding amendment to the tax rate, bylaw 2025-17. It's moved by Councillor DeRush, second by Councillor Vedabunker. Further comments? Call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed, and that is carried. Move on, number 13 is our matters for consideration. We have a couple items this evening, Council. So the first one, 13A, is regarding the Municipal Ice Storm Assistance Program. We have a fulsome report for you here. Does anybody wish to pull this for further comment or question? Okay, seeing none, We'll look for, actually, I'll read it and then we'll look for a mover. The motion reads, whereas the corporation of the town of Penetanguishene has eligible costs directly linked to the March 2025 ice storm, and whereas the council of the town of Penetanguishene hereby requests assistance under the municipal ice storm assistance program, now therefore the director of finance treasurer is given delegated authority to verify and attest the accuracy of the application package and submit the application before the October 31st, 2025 deadline. Moved by Deputy Mayor LaRose, second by Councillor Vadabonker. Comments? We'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Council, the next item is regarding our AMP short-term rental bylaw amendment. Does anybody have any comment or question on this item? Councillor LaRue.
Thank you, Worship. The only thing I have there is that going through it, I see quite a number of points brought out in this bylaw that makes reference to a hearings officer appointed by the town. And I guess my question is who is this person?
Thank you, Councillor Roux. CEO Elise.
Through your worship, I'm going to defer to the Director of Public Works to speak to this. Thank you.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor LaRue. Depending on the whether it's a short-term rental matter, Councillor LaRue, or related to automated speed enforcement, related to short-term rentals, it would be handled by our designated, our hearings officer that we currently use. When it's related to automated speed enforcement, it would be through the town of Newmarket.
Does that answer your question, Councillor? Further comments for anyone? Councillor Vadabonker.
Thank you, Worship. Again, to the Director, we talked about this as section. Perhaps the Director could just explain for the public the distinction between what offenses might be administered through the Highway Traffic Act and what may be administered through the AMPS program under the speed camera program. Thank you.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Vadabonker. So the amendments being brought forward tonight include the short-term rental bylaw. So those provisions of the short-term rental bylaw will continue to be administered by the town through the automated speed enforcement program that we're going to be implementing this fall. That'll be implemented through the town of Newmarket. And the provisions that will be administered through that will be the speed-related or speed offense-related provisions, which are outlined within the Highway Traffic Act. Hopefully that clarifies.
Councillor Vadabonker.
Yeah, thank you. And maybe just elaborate a little further on from the Highway Traffic Act into the AMPS program. How does the AMPS program provide that little extra layer on the Highway Traffic Act offenses?
Certainly. The Highway Traffic Act is related to the speed or offense-related penalty provisions of the traffic tickets being issued. The AMPS program would be related to any appeals or notice hearings related to tickets issued through the AMPS program, so being STRs or the automated speed enforcement program. So that could be fees associated with non-attendance at a hearing, or a fee associated with a license plate search.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions for anyone? All right, Council, the motion reads that the proposed changes to the Administrative Monetary Penalty System bylaw and the short-term rental bylaw, as outlined within the staff report ENG 2025-10, be approved, and that staff bring forward a bylaw to repeal and replace the existing Administrative Monetary Penalty System bylaw for Council approval. And finally, that staff bring forward an amendment to the short-term rental bylaw for Council approval. It's moved by Councillor LaRue, seconded by Councillor Waters. Further comments? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. Council, the next item on our agenda tonight is regarding an exemption from the procurement policy of the Sandome. Before I read this motion, does anybody have any comments or questions? Councillor LaRue.
Thank you, Worship. Just to indicate that I will support option A1 as a staff feel that it will expedite their installation of a new Sandome, and located in a new location will allow for better vehicular movements within the yard. So I will definitely be supporting option A1.
Thank you, Councillor LaRue. Any further comments or questions item for anyone? All right. The motion reads that an exemption from the procurement policy as per bylaw 2022-49 section 7.2 be approved to expedite the Sandome replacement project, and that the existing financial allocation for the project be augmented by the insurance claim amount to fund the project at a new site within the Public Works yard. And further, that the $16,817.32 savings realized on the tandem snowplow replacement be applied against the project. And finally, that Van Pelt Construction be approved to proceed with the sand dome replacement project. Moved by Councillor Roux, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. Council, the next item, D, is regarding awarding of a construction service contract. This was in our Committee of the Whole report from last month. This came forward with new information to update that report. Before we read this motion, does anybody have any further comments or questions? All right, the motion reads that the information contained within this report be received to supplement staff report RDS 2025-14. Moved by Councillor Rush, second by Councillor Vadaboncourt. Further comments? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. Council, we're going to move on. Number 14 is our presentation and Committee of the Whole report for June 11, 2025. For members of the public, we meet as council, followed by Committee of the Whole. Committee of the Whole, it gets ratified the following month or pulled for further comment or discussion. So we're going to debate that from last month, so June 11th, and we'll look at that from individual section reports. So we're going to start with Transportation Environmental Services section for last month. I'm going to ask Councillor Vadaboncourt if you can help guide that motion, please.
Thank you, Worship. So section at the June 11th Committee of the Whole meeting dealt with two items for action. The first item is that Council's recommending section is recommending that Council award the construction services contract to Charles Morton Construction Limited for a 3-year term with the possibility of extensions for a total of 5 years. This is a renewal, and the process was administered through a competitive process. The second item is that section is recommending that Council award the preventative road maintenance contract for the years 2025 to 2028 to Superior Road Maintenance. And 6 road sections are being proposed to be repaired this year. There were no referral items. And on that basis, Your Worship, I'll move that Council approve the recommendations outlined in the June 11th Transportation Environmental Services section report. And I believe the Deputy Mayor is going to second that motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Vadaboncourt, and it's seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Further comments or questions on the motion, Council? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. We'll move on to the next one. Councillor Roux, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Committee of the Whole, June 11, 25 for Recreation Community Services dealt with 3 consent agendas. One was the Trails Committee meeting of June 11, 24. Second was Penetanguishene Library Board meeting minutes of April 25. And third was a memo from the Director of Recreation Community Services, Clean Marine. There was only one matter for consideration, being McGuire Park Pickleball. There remains 2 future agenda items, one McGuire Park pickleball courts, and secondly, the memorial opportunity. So it is moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor LaRose, that the recommendations contained within Committee of the Whole related to Recreation and Community Service section be approved.
Thank you very much, Councillor Roux. Anybody wish to point out further comment? See none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Councillor Rush, please, for planning.
The Planning and Community Development Services section had 4 consent agenda items. The first was the notice of case management conference for Queen's Court, which is located at 221 Fox Street. The second was the meeting minutes for the May 5th Town Dock Ad Hoc Committee. Third was the downtown parking charges and parking permit system work plan. And finally, the monthly municipal law enforcement report for May 2025. There were 4 matters for consideration. The first was the results of the public meeting for 128 Burke Street draft plan of subdivision and zoning bylaw amendment. It was recommended that the zoning bylaw amendment and draft plan of subdivision be approved as revised, and that the bylaw to amend the town zoning bylaw be passed, and that the Director of Planning be authorized to grant draft plan approval. The second, third, and fourth matters were objections to notice of intention to designate 50 Roberts Street West, 131 Main Street, and 47 Chatham Street. It was recommended that Council affirms its intention to designate the 3 properties under Section 29 of the Ontario Heritage Act in recognition of their cultural heritage significance. These motions were defeated. Only one item remains on the referrals, and that is options for future use of 161 Church Street. So as the chair of the Planning Community Development Services section, I move the motion for all of these items except the 3 properties for designation. I'd like to remove those. So I'm suggesting that we vote on all other matters, and then maybe I'd like to just discuss a little bit that matter. That's okay. So I will move that I move that the motion seconded by the Vice Chair Bill Waters, that the recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report, except for the 3 designations related to the Planning Development Services section, be approved.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rush. Madam Clerk, you're good? All right, Councillor, you heard it. Anyone wish to plan for further comment or discussion? See none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Councillor Rush.
Thank you very much. And I know we had a good discussion last meeting, and I respect that that members don't see the same way I do, but I cannot support motions that wouldn't respect the significance of these 3 properties. So I cannot support the defeat from that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Rush. So I'll see if there's anyone on council who wants to move the recommendations from last month, and then the motion will be on the floor and we can decide how we're going to move forward. Does that work, Madam Clerk? Okay. So council, we have from last Committee of the Whole, we have a recommendation that came forward and that was defeated. We pulled that out and did not vote on that tonight. So the recommendation as it stands right now will be that motion will continue as it was presented last meeting. So I'll look and see if anyone wants to move that motion that was approved by last planning. It's moved by the Deputy Mayor. I'll look for a seconder. It's moved by or seconded by Councillor Vatabankar. So it's on the floor. We'll open up for comments or questions. Councillor Waters.
I'm excuse me. I agree with my neighbor here. As far as the importance of the properties being designated, I think it's a good thing for them to be designated. I think it's good for the town. I think it's good for the people that own the property. However, if the people don't want it, I think we have to respect their decision. They're entitled to quiet enjoyment of their property. And I don't think we have I guess we have the right, but I don't think it's proper that we enforce something onto private people that when they don't want it.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Rush.
Thank you for those comments, Bill. I would just like to, I guess, reiterate that as a town, we have the responsibility to see high-level subject matters, and not only regarding planning and zoning and safety on streets and whatnot, but we also have responsibility to protect the heritage of our town. And much like a lot of decisions that we make for building and planning and whatnot, many people don't like what we're suggesting that they have to do for their properties, but it's for the betterment of our environment and for our town. And so I don't see heritage as being any different. And I'm sad to see that we have the potential of losing 3 properties in the future because they won't be designated, and that we will lose that significant cultural heritage that makes the town of Penetanguishene what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rush. Further comments by any members of council? Councillor LaRue.
Thank you, Your Worship. Being the council rep at the museum, I'm also part of the Heritage Committee. And I have to agree somewhat with Councillor DeRush. The fact that, these appointed heritage homes, the only thing that is controlled is the exterior of the house or the building. Everything interior is up to them. And so with that, there's also benefits for them being designated heritage. So I think that I would
probably agree that we don't allow. Deputy Mayor.
We'll have a say. Thank you, Worship. As much as the comments are good, they're great. I understand what you're trying to say, and it's a good thing. But this is something that we would be forcing on a homeowner that is already pre-existing. So if I was to come to you and say you need to have purple shingles on your house, you're going to tell me, go away, I pay my taxes, I bought my house, it's mine, I'll do what I like. I think we would do better to leave it to staff to educate these people more, especially when one of those houses comes up for sale and it's going to be under new ownership. People could start with the new rules and regulations. But as it is now, I know if it was my home, I will make the decision on my own house. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Further comments? All right, we have the motion, Council, and the motion is from Committee of the Whole of last month that it's defeated. We have a mover, we have a seconder, we're going to call for the vote. All in favor, meaning we're carrying the motion from the Committee of the Whole last month. All in favor? And opposed? That motion carries. Madam Clerk, we good? Councillor, we're going to move on to the next item is our Committee of the Whole report for Finance and Corporate Services section. Councillor Waters, please.
At the June 11th Committee of the Whole meeting, the Finance and Corporate Services section received one matter for information, being the town's response to the ice storm. There were three matters for consideration that were approved: the 2026 budget timeline and survey, the public consultations, which was a referral item, and the 2026 budget guideline report. The voting method referral item was removed, leaving four items on the referral list, being the Cultural Alliance, digital signage, public consultations by section, and Elantra. As the Vice Chair of the Finance and Corporate Services, I'd move the motion that the recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report relating to the Finance and Corporate Services be approved. And Suzanne's away, so I'll need a seconder. Councillor DeRush, all in favor?
Thank you. Anyone want to pull anything for further comment? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor?
There you go.
And opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Councillor Waters. Council, moving on. 15, presentation, consider the report for special committees. We have none. 16, motion of which notice has previously been given. We have none. 17, notices of motion. Anybody wish to present a notice of motion? Seeing none. 16 is consideration of bylaws. We have a few. Before I read the bylaws, does anybody want to pull any bylaws for further comments or questions? Okay, the first I will state, Council, and I forgot to say this at last council meeting. Bear with us. This is a learning process. Strong Mayor Powers came in force on May 1st, and I have to, we want to advise the community if we're going to be vetoing bylaws. I did not publicly acknowledge that last month. We did follow up with Madam Clerk afterwards and did sign the declaration, but I will make a statement now. As per the Strong Mayor legislation passed by the province of Ontario on May 1st, 2025, I, Mayor Doug Ross, hereby decide to not exercise the power to veto the following bylaws passed at the Town of Penetanguishene Council meeting on July the 9th, 2025, in accordance with subsection 284.11 4A1 of the Act. Okay. Consideration bylaws that the Council of the Town of Penetanguishene introduce the following bylaws, and they be deemed to read, and that the bylaws be read a first time, deemed to read a second, third time, and carried. And that's for bylaw 2025-29, a bylaw to set the rates of taxation for 2025. Bylaw 2025-30, a zoning bylaw amendment for 128 Burke Street. Bylaw 2025-31, a bylaw for Landmark Cruises Tour and Charter Boat Operations Agreement. Bylaw 2025-32, a bylaw to amend the short-term rental bylaw. Bylaw 2025-33, a bylaw to repeal and replace the AMPS bylaw. I'll look for a mover, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Roux. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. So the Mayor and Deputy Mayor sit on County Council. Madam Clerk, thanks for putting on the county highlights on the agenda for the public to see. The Deputy Mayor reports back to Council and the community about the work being done at County Council. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. Just like we're having tonight, a nice, quick, efficient meeting. We had a very quick, efficient meeting last time at the county. The one thing we did attend was a transit workshop, and the county is looking at what transit would look like over the next 10 years throughout the county, and we were able to give our input of what we want in the Lynx bus system as well as locally. So there was a lot of municipalities lining up to speak to that, and I believe that we got our point across quite well. So we'll see how that over the next 2 years works out, and we'll go from there. The other thing I would like to report is that council will remember we had a council composition vote at our last meeting here, and to say that that went the same way that we voted. It was an 8-8 vote at county, so it was defeated just the same as we had voted. So that ends the discussion on that for now. So it was just an update to let us know it went through the way we anticipated it would. And with that, Your Worship, that will do it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Our vote mattered.
It mattered.
Okay, Council, announcements and inquiries. Councilor LaRue.
Thank you, Your Worship. One announcement. The Penetanguishene Curling Club will be offering pickleball with a 4-court setup on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. A court will cost $20 per hour, including taxes, and they have posted on their website.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other announcements or inquiries? All right, I have a few. My first one is for our CEO and for our Director of Recreation. I want to say I'm sorry, and I want to say thank you. I make notes on my agenda, and sometimes I miss some of the notes. In April, Council, I should have let you know, and my apologies. I've had some conversations with the CEO. We do flag raisings often here, and we fly our flag that we're flying, whoever it is, underneath another flag. And etiquette is we should have 3 flag poles and whatever flag we're flying next to it. And I've gently asked the CEO if he could work towards that. So one day we were having a meeting, and he wanted to meet in the front of the building. But I said, no, I'm at the back of the building. I knew he wanted to show me the flagpole, but I was supposed to say something here. I didn't. So Sherry, if you can let Roy know, thank you so much. I should have made this announcement in April. Then in May, I said I was going to do it. And then June, I was going to do it. My apologies, but CEO, Sherry, and everybody made it happen. It's spectacular. I love having the 3 flagpoles. I love flying the Canadian flag, the Ontario flag, and the flag that we're flying for our special event. And right now our Francophone Ontarian flags are. So thank you so much for that. The other one I'm remiss to announce, Sherry, Emily, Jeff, and I participated in the Legion Luncheon yesterday. It was well done. Thank you for your participation and leadership. I think, it's great partnership and good work. So thank you to you for the work, and thank you to our strong Legion members in the community. My other announcement I'd like to make is I hope everyone here may know or don't know. If you don't know, I'd encourage you to reach out to your section directors. My comment really is about the great work that staff does on a regular basis supporting the community. So thank you. But I think the other comment is really, we're noticing more and more, and I'm going to say ignorant, disrespectful comments coming from people to staff. And I think some of the things that's being said and done is just downright rude, ignorant, distasteful, and just wrong on so many levels. And I regret that people have had to condone and put up with that. To the public, you don't have the right to beat up staff. You don't have the right to be ignorant and belligerent and that. So I know, CEO, I know you're managing and looking at this, but do know, council, we're behind you and we support you. And hopefully the media is watching this and they're going to publish something that says we're not here to beat up and receive your naysays and all the other stuff. Thank you for doing the good work on a regular basis. I do hear more good than otherwise, but some of the stuff I'm seeing and hearing lately is just getting downright despicable. So keep doing what you're doing, keep your head up, and thank you for the work that you do. Okay, we'll move on. Confirmation bylaw. We have a bylaw that reads, the confirmation bylaw 2025-34 be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Moved by Councillor Drush, second by Deputy Mayor. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. We'll look for a motion to adjourn at 7:53. Moved by Councillor Waters, second by Councillor LaRue. All in favor? and we're adjourned. And council, you want to jump right in committee of the whole, or do you want to take a few minute break? 4 minutes, Councilor Rowe? Oh, you ready to go? You ready to go? Okay, council, we good? Emily, are we good? We don't need to change state? Okay. Madam Clerk? Here we go. We're going to call our committee of the whole meeting to order for Wednesday, July the 9th at 7:54 p.m. We'll look for a move or approval of the agenda. I have a motion to read to the committee of the whole agenda for July the 9th, 2025. Be approved as presented, moved by Councillor DeRush, seconded by Councillor Waters. Comments or questions? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Council, number 3 is our declaration of pecuniary interest. Do any members have a declaration of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none, if you're presented them one at a time, please do let us know. Next is our delegations and presentations. We have none. 5 is a council information package. Council, there's 2 items on your council information package. Anybody wish to pull any for further comments or discussion? Councillor DeRush.
I'd like to pull the letter from École Saint-Joseph regarding the website, please, and thank you. And that's from the June 18th series package.
Thank you. The floor is yours. Why don't you address that?
Thank you very much. So, of course, it was great to see that they took the time to write us a letter asking us about a bilingual website. In my former life, we had looked at a fully translated website, which is, of course, would be financially impossible. It would be so expensive. But I do know that there is possibility of getting, I know we installed it's like a button, it's a Google button, and it can translate the website completely through this, I think it's a Google tool, and it translates in any language that you wish. Now, the accuracy of the translation is maybe 80%, so it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing, I would say. So I don't know if it's possible for staff to look into if that's a possibility for our website, if we could get that integrated within that website. So I would suggest maybe staff could look into that.
Thank you, Councillor Rush. I was going to pull that too and speak to it, and thank you for bringing that up. A little background. So St. Joseph did reach out to our staff and asked us to attend, and they asked if I would go because I wanted to present a letter and a presentation. Councillor Roux and I were in conversation, and Councillor Roux did attend with me. And I, again, appreciate that very much, Councillor Roux. If I can just set the background, when we attended, it was the grade 3, grade 4 class, Council, from St. Joseph. And they were doing a social studies project about government and community services. And the words they said when I was sitting there, and Councillor Roux and myself were in front of the class, sitting in 2 chairs, and the students were here looking at us. And they read their letter in French and then followed up in English. And they said that when they were doing the research, they were embarrassed, that was the word, that when they were doing the research of the town of Penetanguishene, that our website was not bilingual and available in French. And they said as they're trying to learn what services were available and it was only available in English, they were embarrassed to learn that. They then said, we went to our neighbors' websites and they said the town of Midland, the township of Tiny, and the township of Tay, and they learned that they were bilingual. And they asked if we could look at that. So we appreciated very much their work that they did on that. I think it was very well done. The students and their teacher did this project for a couple months, and part of that final part was to present it to us in a letter, which we did provide to the clerk's office to have on our agenda. I have had conversation with the CEO. I don't think we need any motions or anything tonight. Staff are aware. And we're hopeful this fall, maybe we can have the students back and we can do a little presentation on the screen, and maybe we can push a button and we can see some magic happen. But Councillor Rush, thank you. And I do know that we're doing it. We're just working through some staffing, and as soon as we got that taken care of, we'll be moving forward with that. But when I heard the words embarrassed and everything else, it resonated, but we are aware, and everyone knows. Councillor Roux, is there anything else you want to add to that? You were there. Anything else that I missed from that interaction? No? Okay. Does anybody else have any other items you want to pull from the council information package? Councillor, I just want to highlight a couple. I don't want to put them for motion, I just want to highlight a couple. So the first council information package, item 1A, was the letter to the Minister of Solicitor General. So if you recall, a while back, the ministry did reach out about changes to the OPP billing model. Again, I participated in that, our treasurer participated in that. A lot of the same themes we heard from municipalities was the same. And it was really about these costs are becoming unmanageable. We can't see big escalations continue. A lot of our northern friends really said, like, we're not going to be able to keep doing this. They said if it keeps getting to be ballooning like this, we're just not going to pay the bill. So the ministry heard. The ask after that is that we follow up with written communication. Thank you to our treasurer, Carrie, for penning that letter. So that's what we submitted on behalf of the municipality. So that's there for your review. We talked about the St. Joseph letter. Thanks again, Councillor DeRush, on that. The other one I'd like to highlight, if I can, Council, is on the second council information package. And it's regarding the Auto Mayor's letter. I just want to give a little background on this as well. So we participate in the Auto Mayor's Provincial Caucus, and it's municipalities that have direct and indirect support of the auto manufacturing sector, which we do with Magna in our backyard, supporting that sector, and we do that from the provincial basis. We have heard from our friends in New Tech the real impact that really what's going on with the state of affairs south of the border and the tariffs, how much effect that's having on Alliston and the Honda plant, and what that trickle effect is. And we know that's affecting about 4,500 direct jobs in Alliston, and it's affecting up to 30,000 indirect spin-off jobs with places like here. The provincial focus group is not really looking at these other small, when we say small, Alliston is the example. So the mayor of New Tech wanted to really get the Simcoe County mayors together and say, how can we really support manufacturing in Simcoe County? So we met a little while ago. I was there, CO Lees was there. And the first thing we're looking at was really about some policy changes and getting some advocacy at the federal level. So we supported that letter, and we've just attached some information there. So that's some information for you. Happy to answer any more questions you have on that. But I think it's just some good advocacy work we're doing with our partners on that. Anybody wish to pull anything else on the council information package? Okay. The motion reads that the council information package have been given due consideration, be received for information. It's moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Waters. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. 6, Section A, Transportation Environmental Services section. We'll turn it to Councillor Vadabonker, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll speak to the Transportation Environmental Services section of the Committee of the Whole agenda. We have one consent item. It's the Lepage Drinking Water System Inspection Report for 2025. Does anybody have any comments or would like to see this item pulled? Seeing none, may I have a mover for the motion that the following consent agenda items having been given due consideration be received for information? Lepage Drinking Water System Inspection Report 2025. Councillor DeRush and Deputy Mayor LaRose. Any further comments? Seeing none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have 2 matters for consideration. The first item is pertaining to electric vehicle charging station update and agreement. And in your agenda package, there's a report from our director pertaining to electric vehicle charging stations. There's a proposal that 2 new charging stations be installed within the community in partnership with Lakeland Solutions. The one is at the community center, and that is basically the Penetang Machine Arena, and the other is at the town dock. So at section meeting, we talked about both those locations, particularly the one at the town dock, because as you know, we're going through an exercise right now in terms of looking at the parking configuration and whatnot at the town dock. So there was a site plan included in the material, and the proposed location of the transformer to serve the EV station at the town dock is in a location that should not be impeded with whatever decision is made with respect to the ultimate design. The proposed location at the arena is adjacent the arena, typically where our Parks and Facilities staff park their vehicles. It's an isolated spot, but it's still close enough to the building that it, from a hydro service perspective, it can be serviced. Lakeland will own and operate these chargers. The town will simply provide a location that the residents can use. As you know, we have the ones just out here at Town Hall, and they are used on a fairly regular basis, and we get a report periodically with respect to the usage. So the recommendation is that the agreements between the town of Penetanguishene and Lakeland Solutions be authorized, and that a resolution is passed for the following. Notwithstanding Section 106, Council under Section 107 of the Act deems the rental of below market value to be in the public interest. Mr. Director, is there anything that you'd like to add to what I've just highlighted in this report?
Nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Roux, second by Deputy Mayor LaRose. Any comments or questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did talk to the director about this at our section meeting this week. I totally disagree with this at this point in time. When I look at EV vehicles where they were 12, 13 years ago, they were different. Now we've moved on to this section. I look at our contract length of 12 years plus a 5-year thing. In 17 years from now, what's it going to be like? Is there going to be more EV vehicles? So then it got me to thinking, should we even be in the business of having chargers and being responsible for them? And then once I dove into the contract a little bit, I find out that we get nothing. We receive zero for this at all. We give them locations, however many there is, two at the town dock, one at the arena, and the town receives nothing. We have to look after the area, we have to plow the snow, we have to cut the grass near it, light it, look after it. If our employees find something, we call Lakeland. So we're doing all the work, we're supplying all of the infrastructure for it. Now, I realize we're not putting up any money towards this, but we're also going to receive nothing. So I look at it as I just can't see us why we would be in the business of supplying chargers. I totally believe that should be done at the private level. You know, there's lots of gas companies that I'm sure will be switching their pumps and stuff around, and I just don't like the idea of us doing it, especially for nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to the second item is the renewal of the biosolids management contract. The motion is that the extension of the biosolids management contract with the region of Huronia Environmental Services be approved for a term of 5 years. This company, Region of Huronia Environmental Services, has been providing environmental sludge hauling services for many, many years to the town of Penetanguishene, and in discussions with the director, the service has always been excellent. They're very responsive. They've helped us out in our last little crisis that we had down at the sewage treatment plant. So very positive company. The increase in rate is very minimal over the 5-year period and over our current contract. And for those reasons, section is recommending that that council renew that committee of the whole propose to council that it renew this contract. So I'll read the motion again, and then I'll look for a mover and seconder, that the extension of the biosolids management contract with the Region of Huronia Environmental Services be approved for a term of 5 years. May I have a mover? Deputy Mayor LaRose, a seconder. Councillor Darash. Any further comments or questions on this one? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. We have two referral items on our list, the septage disposal and treatment resolution, and that is expected date has been updated to Q1 2025 and updated again to Q3 2025, and the Habitat for Humanity item is on the agenda, and that's expecting a report from Q3 2025. And I see the Deputy Mayor's hand up, and I do recall we received a letter, and maybe you're going to speak to that. So I'll turn it over to you, Your Worship, and you can speak to the second referral item.
Thank you. I was just going to suggest we remove the Habitat for Humanity housing. This council asked that we have staff investigate this, but we wanted to wait till we heard from Tiny Township. We have received word this past week, Council, we did receive an email from the group abandoning withdrawing from this plan because it was not supported by the other municipality. I don't think it's good use for staff time to pursue this when the group is withdrawn. So I would recommend we just withdraw that now.
Thank you, Your Worship. So His Worship is putting forward a motion that the second referral item on our list dealing with the Habitat for Humanity housing be removed. May I have a seconder for that? Councillor LaRue, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That motion carries. That's leaving the septage disposal and treatment resolution referral item, and in conversation with the director, I know it's being worked at the staff level, so I look forward to getting information on that in Q3. Are there any items to add to the referral list? Okay, so I'll read the motion then, that the Transportation Environmental Services section endorse the following referrals to the upcoming agendas and staff, and we're left with the one and septic disposal and treatment resolution, the other one having been removed earlier. May I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor LaRose, seconder. Councillor LaRue. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. Question period from the media and the public. Does the public have any questions? Welcome. Could you come to the podium and just identify yourself? You may have to lower that microphone a bit there just so that we can hear you.
My name's Connie Stewart. Thank you to the Mayor and Council. I found it a little confusing having the traffic calming information bylaw mixed in with the oh, God, gracious. Okay. With the short-term rentals, I don't understand that. Like, shouldn't they be, is it a bylaw for each thing separately, or maybe I misunderstood?
So that was in our council meeting, which we've adjourned that meeting. It might have been confusing. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask the CEO to help you with that offline. That bylaw has been passed and move that forward tonight. But we'll take that offline and seal these if you or the team can help address that and just identify that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anybody online that has a question or a comment? Seeing none. Thank you. Your Worship, I'll turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Vadabunker. 7, Section B, Recreation Community Services. Councillor LaRue, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the Recreation Community Service under the consent agenda, we have 2 items. One is the Wellbeing and Accessibility Committee meeting minutes, and the other is the Summer Culture Festival Ad Hoc Committee meeting minutes. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about? So then I will ask for a mover and a seconder, Deputy Mayor and Councillor DeRush. And it reads that the following consent agenda items having been given due consideration be received for information. All in favor? Thank you. Matters for consideration, we have one, and that is the Georgian Bay Minor Hockey Association. And it is that the draft ice user agreement between a corporation of the town of Penetanguishene and the Georgian Bay Minor Hockey Association be approved as outlined in attachment number 2, and that the CAO and Director of Recreation and Community Services are hereby authorized to make minor alterations to the agreement that does not substantially changes its contents. And finally, that staff bring forward the necessary bylaw for council approval. And note that members of council, we have received a very extensive explanation detail on this agreement and from our directors. So I ask if anybody has any questions or concerns. A mover, Councillor DeRush and Councillor Waters, all in favor? And that is carried. Referrals to upcoming agenda staff. We have 2, McGuire Park Pickleball Courts and Memorial Opportunity. Does anybody wish to remove or add? Your Worship.
Council approved the McGuire Park Pickleball Courts tonight, so I think we can remove that one.
Remove it. Okay. So I have a motion by His Worship to remove the McGuire Pickleball Courts. Seconder, Deputy Mayor, all in favor? It's carried. So going to the other Memorial Opportunity, no one has anything else to add or remove. A mover for the Memorial Opportunity, Councillor DeRush and Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. Question from media or public? None. And then back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor. 8, Section C, Planning Community Development Services section. Councillor DeRush, please.
Thank you very much. The Planning Community Development Services has 3 consent agenda items. The first being complete application for 39 Point Street. Second is the Town Dock Technical Advisory Committee update. And the third is the Town Dock Ad Hoc Committee meeting minutes of June 2nd, 2025. And the recommendation reads that the following consent agenda items having been given due consideration be received for information. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor LaRose, seconded by Councillor Leroux. Any questions regarding any of these items? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. We have the one matter for consideration, and it is regarding an appeal of CIP application refusal for 119 Main Street. We have lots of information there, the appeal letter, the landscaping property improvement application, the building improvement and renovation application, and the scoring matrix. And the recommendation is that the community improvement plan application concerning 119 Main Street under the landscaping property improvement program and the building improvement and renovation program be refused. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Mayor Rawson, seconded by Deputy Mayor LaRose. Are there any questions or comments regarding this item? I trust you read all of these. Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. As far as referrals, we have one item left for future agenda discussion, and it is regarding 161 Church Street, and it's regarding options for future use. And the recommendation is that the Planning Community Development Services section endorse the following additional and existing referrals to upcoming agendas and staff. Does anyone want to add anything to this referral list? Looking at you, Mayor Rawson. Seeing no, we'll go to the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Do we have any questions from the media or the public? Seeing none, we'll move it back on to you, Mayor Rawson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor DeRush. 9, Section D, Finance and Corporate Services section. I'm going to turn to Councillor Waters.
Thank you, Mayor Rawson. This evening, we have 2 items on our consent agenda, being the Huronia Community Foundation Youth Endowment Fund and a memo from the Director of Legislative Services related to the LED digital sign update. Would any member of council like to pull or comment on either of these 2 items? So seeing none, then, oh, sorry. Yes, George.
Thank you, Councillor. Just the digital sign update, if we don't mind.
Okay.
to discuss separately? Thank you.
So we can approve the remaining items.
Yeah. Move.
Okay, okay. Moved by Councillor LaRue and Councillor DeRush. All in favor? And that passes. And on the item for the LED signs, did you want to say something, George?
Yes, if I could, just a question with respect to timing. So with respect to what's going to happen in 2025, and then what's proposed for the future years, because with this sign that I think we're talking about was approved in 2024 and was deferred to 2025, and now it seems it's going to be starting a little bit later. I just would like an update in terms of timing and sequencing. And as staff are aware, I'm certainly interested in seeing the program continue and looking at our list again and determining what our next priority should be. Thank you.
Well, ask Kelly to speak on that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Vadamokar. That's correct. So the sign that is within the memo this evening is from the 2024, was approved from the 2024 budget. And a report is going to be coming forward in Q3 of this year, which will be a plan for moving forward for signage throughout the municipality. So that should be coming forward in the next couple months. So you'll be seeing that, and that will outline budget and timelines.
Thank you.
So I guess on that item, then we're looking for a mover then on that. Be Councillor LaRue, seconded by Councillor Vadabonker. And all in favor? And that passes. Matters for consideration. We have one matter for consideration this evening, and I'll read the motion to get the item to the floor. That the funds budgeted for the Cultural Alliance and the Heart of Georgian Bay Committee Partnership and surplus received from its dissolution be allocated to option 2, the Summer Cultural Event Ad Hoc Committee Reserve Fund as outlined in staff report CL2 2025-8. Can I get a mover? Councillor DeRush, Councillor LaRue. And would anybody like to make any comment? Then we'll go for the vote. All in favor? And that passes. And there are currently 4 items on the referral list. Councillor approved the public consultation by section item this evening, so it can be removed. Do any members of council have any referral items to add this evening? Mayor Rossin?
Sorry, the Cultural Alliance one can't be removed yet. It hasn't been ratified by council. The only one I think we can remove is the public consultations by section CEO. That was done through the budget, and we adopted that at council earlier. That I would recommend we can remove tonight, and I'd move that.
Okay. So then the Finance and Corporate Services section will endorse the following additional and existing referrals to the upcoming agenda, which is the digital signs and Elentra and the Cultural Alliance. And we need a mover for that. Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor DeRush. All in favor? And that passes. Move that up.
Yeah. Move it. Move it. Right.
So we need a mover and a seconder to remove the public consultation by section. Moved by Councillor Drush, seconded by our mayor. All in favor? And that passes. And I guess that's the end of that. Questions from media and public? And none. We'll turn it back to the mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. We're looking for motion to adjourn at 8. Councillor Vadabunker.
Thank you, Worship. I know you wanted to adjourn, but just with respect to, we were pretty quick on removing the referral item dealing with the McGuire Park pickleball courts. And the item was listed as opportunity to convert McGuire Park tennis court to pickleball courts. And I appreciate that we dealt with a matter under the council meeting previous, but what the previous section did was there was a report that said that the town await the results of the 2025 Recreation Parks and Trail Strategy to inform discussions related to tennis and pickleball courts level of service. So the way I interpret that is that we're going to wait for that study. And just as an aside, I've been contacted by several pickleball players. I've mentioned that to the director. They're very interested in our study that's underway right now, and they certainly want to be engaged in that discussion. And so I guess my point, Your Worship, is that we haven't quite made that decision yet with respect to the opportunity to convert. We're in that study process of looking at it. So kind of as I understand how referral items are dealt with, maintained on the list, not maintained, is if we've, as a council, have dealt with the matter, or like we heard earlier, the matter gets withdrawn by an agency or whatever, it comes off the list. So I'm just making the point, Your Worship, that we may have been a little too hasty in removing that as a referral item. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Vadabunker. And we can always add it again. But with fairness, I believe, without speaking for the director, I think what the director was suggesting was maybe the rec master plan is going to suggest we need 5 new courts in 5 different spots. Maybe it's not McGuire, maybe it's Rotary and somewhere else. And I think what the director is suggesting is let's get informed by the rec master plan, and then we'll come back with a fulsome plan for the assets and otherwise. But the power of the referral process, we can bring that back. But the ask of this was met, and it came back with our referral report, and this council adopted that, and council approved it tonight. So with that being said, council, we're going to look for a motion to adjourn at 8:27, moved by Councillor Darush, seconded by Councillor Roux. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. And COLEs to you and the team again. Thanks. I know there's lots of good kudos. We've got to keep up the kudos. And please let everyone know we don't condone, and nor does council condone, the bad things that's happening. And, if people are doing those, we're going to work together to not accept that. Thank you.